Coach Leo here. Quickly before the video begins, I wanted to share a quick announcement that I have joined the Jungle Academy. If you're not sure what it is, basically the Avengers of coaches have come together. Other jungle coaches such as Kirei, Perry Jungle, a few others have come together, and basically, I wouldn't be trying to sell you guys on a product that I didn't really think was insane in terms of its value. But essentially, quickly wanted to go through some of the things that you can get by joining the Academy. The first thing is obviously a bunch of resources, little exercises, things like that. You also have the VOD library, which all the VODs kind of get uploaded. So if you're ever wondering, how do I play Rengar? I'm an Emerald player. I want to know how to play Rengar. You can just go on all of these and, have a look at that. But the most important thing is obviously here in the calendar, which is the group coaching sessions. You're 100% guaranteed to have your VOD reviewed. And as you can see here, it's running daily sessions. Mine is, if you want to come to my sessions on Thursday, you can see here all the different coaches and which days they are coaching and the time zone. And so yeah, if this is something that interests you, link will be in the description below. I hope to see you guys all in the Jungle Academy. Welcome back to Jungle Gap. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we have a video talking all things early game fundamentals, as well as a little exercise, testing your knowledge. We're going to be looking at a few crucial decision-making moments in the game. This is an exercise I actually do quite frequently in my coaching sessions, and I think it's quite beneficial to kind of think for yourself. League of Legends and jungling is kind of all about making decisions ahead of time and kind of going through these options of, A, B, C, and depending on the information is super, super important for jungle. A lot of reasons why people have a lot of indecision or they put too much weight on a decision is usually because they're not thinking ahead of time. So this is something that we're really going to be looking at today. Obviously going to be running through the entire game or early game just to give you guys some context. So yeah, let's jump into it. Make sure in this game that you're looking at all the pieces of information. So I'm not going to be skipping back and forth. I'm just going to be playing the game out and pausing on these timestamps. All right. So another thing is when your team goes for something like this, a team play, you generally do want to follow it, as long as it doesn't go into making you start your camps late or anything like that. If you were to invade all the way into their blue side, people have asked me, do I stay there? Do I leave? If you invade all the way into the blue side here, and you got really good vision down, you should stay there, right? You shouldn't actually try and face check back to your top side or something like that. You should stay there. And first huge fundamental here is warding enemy jungle. This ward, best level 1 ward in the game. Obviously you should, which I didn't do, you should ping your team to help. You get the ward. This ward is also dependent on, do they have a strong level 1? What are their level 1 champions? I think this game they had a Shyvana, a Victor, and a Corki. So really, really not much threat. It means I can just walk in and ward. Whereas if they had like an Olaf, a Darius, something like that can kind of just hide in the bush and chase me down, then yeah, it's a little more risky. It means that, yeah, maybe you are not going to be able to get the level 1 ward. And as I've said in countless videos, this level 1 ward is not only to track the enemy jungle, but it's also to make it easier to counter jungle. If the Shyvana, if the enemy jungle ever makes mistakes, knowing what he's doing is really important. And I'll show you why in a second. Camp mirroring, very, very important. Especially when you're playing a champion like Diana. Obviously, one of her key strengths is farming. Absorbing all these yellow dots on the map is her strength. As well as obviously cleaning up kills and things like that. Level 6 becomes very strong, but you want to be really farmed. Okay, so as you can see here, right, this is going to be the timer that this ward becomes useful, because when I'm on my 3rd camp, right, when I'm on number 3, he has to be on number 3 as well. So if he doesn't appear here, within 5 seconds, give or take, it means he's obviously clearing like this, right? He's clearing towards the top side. And this is very important information to when we get to this moment of, choosing which options to choose. This kind of information is really important. Thinking ahead of time. Shyvana's clearing down, I'm clearing down. So then I'm automatically thinking, okay, what's happening bot? Is it going to be my scuttle? Is it going to be a bot gank? All these new kind of questions start coming in. Of course, camera panning is very important. So looking at information like this ahead of time, just for an example, you know, this one camera pan bot and mid can tell me ahead of time, okay, I now know that I'm going to full clear because I can't interact with the bot. They're going to push that wave and they're going to base, right? So camera panning, map prompts into camera panning. You know, if your bot lane starts fighting and the icons just start clashing together, that's a prompt for you to look. And you don't have to go crazy about camera panning, right? Obviously, it's a good habit to have, but you also need to make the camera pan, you know, intentional. It can't just be, oh, I'm doing fundamentals, camera pan. No, we need to actually be gaining information from it. So as we come up to our first little multiple choice exercise, I'm going to pause right here. Consider the information and consider which of these three options you would choose. Option A, reset and run to the top grab. Option B, prepare for a bot gank. Option C, play for bot scuttle. So I'm going to give you guys, you know, pause the video if you need. If you guessed or chose option C, you'd be correct. And I'm going to explain now why my reasoning for this decision in the game. Reset and run to top grab. So right now we kind of have an advantage, right? We have a pretty quick clear. Obviously, Shyvana has a pretty quick clear as well. But the major advantage that we have here, obviously, I could have had a better camera pan here mid, to be honest. But Yasuo just TP'd back. So we know we're going to have mid push. We also know if we actually go back to when bot was fighting, we know which bot lane has tempo here, right? Obviously, right now it looks like our bot lane is already running back because they died, right? And enemy bot lane still hasn't based yet. So if you were noticing carefully the different information here, you would know that they're only just basing now. So my bot lane has a big tempo advantage. I can kind of ahead of time ping my Leona, and ping on the way to this. And obviously my clear is very fast. I have smite, mid has a big push, so this would be the correct option. Prepare for a bot gank. The reason why we wouldn't do this is because obviously that bot lane just based. The wave is also, so the enemy bot lane crashed this wave, and now our wave is bouncing. So whenever there's a bouncing wave, obviously if the gank was there, sure, but it's very unlikely that there's going to be any gank because the wave's bouncing, the enemy bot lane's coming back to base. And reset, run to top grab. There's no reason to do this. You should always take, when you have an advantage, you should always just use it. As we play it out, we see, so the information about knowing where Shyvana is pathing, you know, we're actually even setting a trap. And this is actually going to instantly go into our next multiple choice here at 337. So I'm going to pause right here. All right, take a second again. Three options. Option A, run topside for top scuttle. Option B, fake run topside and play to counter bot or Shyvana's bot gank. Option C, fake run topside and reset. So it means, you know, running into this bush, using this vision that they've just, you know, hit on us to their disadvantage is basically what these options are. So take a moment, choose. And if you chose fake run topside and counter the bot gank, you'd be correct. Honestly, I don't expect too many people to get this one. I also think, you know, obviously crossing to the top scuttle is kind of like the safe play for yourself. But this is where a little bit of that X factor can come in. This is a little bit where you can make a really, really game-changing, game-exploding decision just based off the fact that we know Shyvana is cleared to bot side. We know that they think that we're crossing, and actually, you know, Shyvana's thinking, oh, Diana's crossing to top scuttle, I'm going to gank bot. So a little bit, you're thinking even ahead. You're thinking about what the enemy jungle wants to do. You're thinking from his perspective. He's just thinking here, okay, well, my krugs here spawn at like 4:15. Like, what am I even going to do until then, right? Oh, enemy bot lane, you know, this wave is bouncing, right? So let me go for a bot gank. So we'll play it out. Obviously, fake run, topside, and reset is also it's an option where it's like, well, again, you should use the advantage that you have. Like, you can just take top scuttle, right? So there's no point resetting and maybe giving Shyvana an option to just take it off you. So yeah, as you can see, I'll just play it out. Right, more vision kind of abusing here, right? Leona hits this, but I make sure not to show too early, right? Because we want this play. And like, as you can see already, just from the minimap, like enemy bot lane also thinks, hey, this Shyvana just is crossing to top side. He's not bot side. We can play super aggressive. So you're really giving the enemy team a false sense of security by playing on these kind of vision tricks, right? So important here as well, I don't show. I let it look like Leona's just running back to lane. And this ends up being a super game exploding play because it's like enemy bot lane's like, okay, what's this Diana doing here? Yeah, so these are the type of plays that if you noticed these pieces of information before, and you're able to give yourself time to make decisions. I always had in the back of my mind here when I'm going for this bot crab, my bot wave is bouncing. Now, obviously, they don't have the greatest killing squad. Lulu, Shyvana, Ashe is okay. I think the vision, them hitting vision on me is the real big thing here because it gives them such a false sense of security. All right, so let's continue watching the VOD now. Continue looking for pieces of information. We're taking a reset. Whenever you play, you know, your first round like this as well, it's really important that you kind of note down who's using flash, what you're going to do in the next round. So usually this is why it's important to know, you know, your first clear is knowing where to path is very important because usually, right, if I pile down here, even if I don't kill Ashe, Lulu, Shyvana, whatever, the important thing is that sums, right? I'm blowing Shyvana's flash. I actually did a note down here. So very important, right? That you note down summoners, you know what you're going to punish on the next round. Because of my really quick base as well in the bot bush, right? You know, I didn't really overly help my bot lane push out. It means that I was on tempo for my top side still, even after killing Shyvana. You know, I'm assuming that top crab is gone, right? So I'm kind of just accepting reality. Yeah, he died before me. He gets a top crab, but obviously he doesn't get any more than that, right? I'm on tempo to make sure he doesn't take my top side. So we're clearing down here. Again, as you walk between lanes, just like that, we're having quick looks at lanes. Okay, now we know that bot wave is bouncing again, right? So we're just clearing down. Yeah, looking mid again. No, we're not going to gank mid. So, you know, little camera pans like that. It means, oh, after this raptor camp, what am I going to do? Am I going to gank mid? Am I going to take dragon? Am I going to gank bot? If there's no high percentage plays and you have camps up, just keep clearing, right? And as we're getting up to 551, we'll go through our next multiple choice, which is on that exact camera pan, which I need to pause there because we need this information. Okay, right? So we're thinking here, you know, Shyvana's going to the bot side. He might be looking at the dragon, right? So as we go through these three options, option A, what are we going to do? Run straight to Grubs and trade the dragon. Reset and counter jungle his top side in trade of the dragon. Match wherever Shyvana goes on Grubs or dragon. All right, so give you another moment. Pause the video. Think about it. Think about the information before I reveal. And if you guessed option C, you would be correct. And the reason for this is pretty much just because this Corki is not actually a champion, right? He's going to push his wave out and he's going to base. Now, obviously, you can consider if Corki has TP or not, right? That can be consideration. Or if he has TP, then they can take dragon. But you really just want to match wherever Shyvana goes because, you know, if she goes to Grubs, you want to go to Grubs because you want to match her because you're stronger, right? You always, this is the match or trade fundamental. You always want to match when you're stronger. Now, obviously, when you say match, it's not just your own individual strength, right? For example, like I just said, if Corki had TP, TP's back. Even though I'm stronger than Shyvana, I can't actually still contest the dragon because they have more numbers. So match when you're stronger. The reason why we don't want to run straight to Grubs and trade dragon, just for what I just said, and reset counter jungle topside, if we were, you know, tracking Shyvana correctly, right, this is definitely the no option, right? Because we know that these camps are dead. He just cleared these camps and ganked mid. We just cleared these camps. So that's where the camp mirroring comes in. We know that these are actually down right now because we know we've been tracking him, right? His krugs are our krugs. His raptors are our wolves. So yeah. And as we play the clip out, you know, there is a chance like his krugs are up, I think, because he out of base after we killed him, but he could have done like this, and then he tried to counter jungle us here, but then we stopped him. So his krugs could be up, but obviously that's still, you know, you don't want to give a dragon here for no reason, right? Because we're actually at an advantage, especially to do with dragon, right? Dragon has 1 health bar. So like for Shyvana to take this dragon, it should be extremely hard, as opposed to if Shyvana went on like the grubs, for example. Grubs have like 3 health bars, right? So he could actually go to grubs here, take 1 grub, and even if we're stronger, right, he can still get 1 grub and get out. So you really don't want to give dragons like this, right? You want to match him here. And as we can see, we match him. We also don't want to start the dragon, right? Whoever starts the dragon generally is the one to lose it, because the dragon counts as, you know, half of a champion, because it's hitting you, it's chunking you, it's slowing you, whatever dragon it is, it's acting against you, right? It's part of the enemy team. So if we continue watching, the next play, next multiple choice, next decision you have to make, right? We're looking at the grubs, we're looking at the top gank here. And just 2 simple options here, obviously. Gank top or take grubs. So I'll give you a moment. Think about it. And if you guessed take grubs, you would be correct. If you chose take grubs, you'd be correct. The reason why, you know, this is the classic 60% gank, right? This is the classic, because the reason why I think this is the incorrect play is because we don't know if he has flash or not. So if he has flash and he flashes our Q, obviously it's going to be very hard to kill. If we use E, or if, you know, obviously there's a way that we probably could kill him, but you just have to consider, if he runs in a straight line right now and we run in a straight line at him, we're never going to like catch him at this intersection, right? We're not going to be able to catch him. If he flashes, he's going to get out. So I don't think this gank is too bad, even if we were to burn Victor Flash, because he is a Victor, right? He's immobile, so if he has flash next time, he will just die. So this one's a little bit more tricky. But I end up just going for the grubs, you know, taking kind of like the 95, 100% play over the 60% play where I throw Q, he flashes away. You know, obviously I would probably still get the grubs in this situation. But yeah, that's kind of just my thought process when you're thinking about ganks. You know, a very important fundamental that I often talk about, which is tempo and spare tempo. You can always go for those ganks in your spare tempo, meaning you have nothing else to do, right? If I had just full cleared up, and grubs were not alive, right? You always go for that gank. You always burn Victor's flash. But because there is something that I can do, I can take grubs, I can take red, I can take blue, I can clear down, right? You don't want to waste time burning a flash. Again, it is a Victor, so burning his flash is not as bad as if it was like a, I don't know, maybe it's like a Zac top or someone with a mobility who's like, next time you try and gank them, they just like jump away. All right, so continuing on, we have a next timestamp here, which is 7:04, which I will pause right here. We have some more multiple choice. Cover mid, option A. Full clear down, option B. Take enemy red, option C. Again, we know his red is up because he's not wearing it right now. We know that when we took blue, he took red. So his red is actually up this time. We know that. Take a moment. Think about which option you would choose. And if you chose cover mid, you would be correct. Now, this is kind of like whenever the mid lane, or, you know, this is generally towards mid. Whenever your mid is kind of acting as the jungler, right? Roaming to bot. Because you're unlikely going to make it to this play right now, what you should do is clean up the mid CS and kind of defend the plates from Corki, right? Because the enemy mid is ganking bot, you want to become the enemy mid. This is not only good for, you know, obviously your Yasuo, because you're stopping Corki from getting plates. This is also really good for you. Like, getting this entire wave and denying Corki plates is probably better than taking these 2 camps. Another reason why I think going mid is better is that if this bot fight continues to play out for a very long time, at least you're kind of in this proximity, right? To actually like react to something, right? You always want to be in proximity of wherever the action is while farming. That's like ideal. If I go to the top side, yes, I am playing super for myself. I just think it's a little bit less, yeah, it's a little worse of an option. It's still good taking his red krugs here and then you know, the scuttle spawning. So like doing something like this is still pretty, it's still really, really good. I just think, you know, it's also a cannon wave mid. Maybe if it was a regular wave, taking enemy camps could be better. And yeah, obviously full clear down is the worst of the options because you had those two other better options, which is like taking this before you take your topside camps. You know, you always want an abundance of farm, especially when you're playing these fast clearing champions like Diana. I make a little, you know, mistake here, which is trying to defend a little too hard, right? I mean, obviously I kind of stop him from taking the plate, I think, because he's hitting me instead. I think I do, yeah. But when you do cover mid, you don't want to sacrifice like your entire health bar, or, you know, you don't want to take a huge chunk to actually protect the plate. You're more just looking to actually collect the wave. Protecting the plate is a bonus. You want to get the wave, you want to get the XP. What can happen is if you actually protect and get chunked too hard, what's going to happen is, let's say this Shyvana wasn't dead, right? Let's say Shyvana was a Kha'Zix. He can see like, oh, I'm low, and potentially like invade me here, right? That can be very scary. You don't want that situation to happen. Okay, so as we continue to watch, next option is 733 right here. Corki had just used his Valk. So option A, gank Corki. Option B, take top crab. Option C, reset. So take a moment again, choose your option. If you chose gank Corki, you would be correct. Now, there's two reasons why this is the correct option here, right? Obviously, we're also kind of like walking towards the top crab. So yeah, this is a bit of a double question, right? The correct answer is walk to top crab, but then kill Corki if he's like disrespecting or if he gets trapped here. So right now we're trying to trap Corki in this area. Mayasu should go up, and we're trying, if he ever runs left here, he's dead. If he runs right, maybe he can live. So then we'll just take the top crab, right? Big reason why. Earlier in the VOD, if I just quickly go back, you can see, right? This is why it's important to, this is also why I like mute all slash and then mute pings all, because you do still want this kind of thing in your chat. You still want Corki flash. You still want your Yasuo to be able to communicate Corki flash. So yeah, you can have chat off, have pings on. Very important, because it's going to come up to a situation like this where now, right, now we know Corki just used his W, right? And now we also know he has no flash. So if he stays in this area, he can die. You know, and then of course, if that person is like, you know, you can still mute pings, right? If someone is just pinging you too much and it's affecting your decision making, yeah, you just mute them. But I like having pings on for now because I'm getting information like this. Now I know Lulu has no flash. Someone having no flash is making a gank go from like a 50% gank or a 60% gank to like 90%, right? It's a big deal. And that is the last clip of this game. I want to just quickly talk about now, you know, obviously we're repeat ganking the victor. So, you know, we have no more multiple choice, but I just want to quickly talk about this last round. This situation, right? I can actually, even if he has flash, I can actually run in a way where he's never going to beat me out. I also have a zillion this time, obviously, so he's like slowing and stunning. Even though this is not my spare tempo. Obviously, I have all my camps up here. I consider this a pretty much a 99% chance to kill this guy. And yeah, the main reasons for that is when I was running at him before, he was already all the way up here. But now he's just too far up. You know, I got my zillion. He's stunning him. So as you can see here, my pathing is... I could have pathed a little bit better, honestly. I should have been cutting him off even more, so in case he did flash. You want to make it so like you can basically run up and auto... If you can run up and auto attack the guy, he's most likely dead. So as you can see here, I'm still not even throwing any of my abilities. This is just kind of a key fundamental in ganking that you don't want to really use your abilities until you have to. So I'm still, you know, I'm still expecting, you know, if I just use my, like, if I just throw my QE here and he flashes up, there is still a chance he can survive. There's a chance that I don't get my E reset. Obviously, it's you know, he's still probably dead here because Zilean can speed up and whatnot. Yeah, a little difference in the two top ganks, right? There's a big difference here. And yeah, lastly, to finish this VOD out, we're thinking about, okay, should I base here? Should I full clear down? When you're thinking about basing and greeting, right? I thought I had my item here, which was the mistake. As you can see here, I don't have my item. So if I had my item here, basing is good. If I don't have my item here, you should greed for that. You should greed for that extra camp. As you can see here, because I'm not on that, you know, I use a lot of tempo, obviously killing Corki and killing Victor. I use a lot of tempo. So that opens up the window for Shyvana to do this. That's initially why I wanted to base here, because I want to base to actually match this. I actually just missed my timer to do all this. Shyvana can look to attack me here now. So it's also helpful that you just ping your team what you need. You know, if I can, let's say I didn't have an item here that I was playing for. If I can full clear down here my bot and I can just have these camps protected, that's super efficient for me. That's super nice. But anyway, wrapping up the video here. Leave comments down below what you thought. If you have any differing opinions, some of the questions, you know, obviously there's merits to each of the answers of the decisions. So let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this, as you can see, Shyvana showing in my jungle, right? I actually do end up losing Raptors here. If you want to see more videos like this, the multiple choice exercise stuff, let me know. And I hope to see you guys all in the next video.